Welcome back to the channel. If you love family dramas that hit right in the chest, hit like, subscribe, and share this story. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single word. My name is Nora, and I am the daughter my parents forgot to love. That sounds dramatic, I know. But when you grow up in a house where your brother's sneeze gets more attention than your straight A report card, you learn very quickly where you stand on the family ladder. I was never at the top. I wasn't even on the ladder, really. I was the dusty floor beneath it, the one they swept their mess onto and expected to be grateful for the scraps. My older brother, Mark, was the sun in my parents' universe. Everything revolved around him. When he was born, my mother told me once, a little too honestly, that she felt like she had finally done something right. She didn't say it to be cruel. She said it like it was just a fact, like the sky is blue or water is wet. I was born 2 years later, and I think the best way to describe my arrival is as an inconvenience. A girl. Another girl, after my mother had already given my father a son. I was extra. Unnecessary. A tax for getting the prize they really wanted. I remember birthdays where the cake flavor was chosen by Mark. I remember Christmases where my pile of presents was significantly smaller and always contained practical things like socks or school supplies, while Mark tore into video game consoles and bikes. I learned to swallow my disappointment so early that it became a part of my digestion. I learned to smile and say thank you for the socks while watching my brother ride his new bike down the driveway, my father's hand on his shoulder, my mother's camera flashing. But here is the thing about being overlooked. It gives you a certain kind of freedom. While Mark was being praised for breathing, I was quietly building myself into something else. I studied because I loved the silence of learning. I worked part-time jobs because I hated asking my parents for money and hearing the sigh that always followed. I became fiercely, almost painfully independent. And then, at 22, I met Daniel. He was quiet, steady, and he looked at me like I was the only person in the room. We got married, and a year later, our daughter, Mia, was born. Mia. My God. She changed everything. From the moment she opened her eyes, she had this fire in her. She was smart, stubborn, and so full of light that it hurt to look at her sometimes. I swore to myself in that delivery room, holding her tiny hand, that I would never make her feel the way my parents made me feel. I would never pick a favorite. I would never make her feel like she was second best. I would celebrate every single one of her victories like it was the biggest deal in the world, because to me, it would be. And I did. For 18 years, I was Mia's loudest cheerleader. Daniel and I worked hard. He was an electrician. I was a project manager for a construction firm. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We saved. We sacrificed. We put Mia in good schools, paid for her tutoring when she struggled with calculus, and held her when she cried over a boy who didn't text her back. When she got her acceptance letter to State University with a partial scholarship, I cried more than she did. Daniel took us out for a fancy dinner that we probably couldn't afford, and we toasted to her future. Mia was going places. And her graduation from high school was supposed to be the first big celebration of that journey. The graduation was set for a Saturday in June. The school had rented out the Civic Center, and every senior would walk across that stage. Mia had worked so hard. She had pulled her GPA up from a 3.2 to a 3.8 in her junior year. She had been the captain of the debate team, the lead in the school play, and she had volunteered at the local animal shelter every weekend for 2 years. She was, and is, extraordinary. My parents, of course, had to be involved. Or rather, my mother had to make sure that the family gathering after the ceremony was planned correctly. That meant it had to be convenient for Mark and his wife, Linda, and their son, my nephew, Ethan. Ethan was 2 years older than Mia. He had graduated the previous year, but his path had been different. Mark and Linda had coddled him just as my parents had coddled Mark. Ethan had floated through high school on a cloud of unearned praise. He had been benched from the soccer team for failing grades, but my parents had blamed the coach. He had gotten into a minor car accident that was entirely his fault, but my father had paid for the repairs without a word of reprimand. When he graduated, a full year late because he had to repeat his junior year, my parents threw a party that cost more than my wedding. Now, Ethan was 20. He had tried community college for a semester and dropped out. He had worked at a grocery store for 2 weeks and quit because his manager looked at him wrong. He was, for all intents and purposes, drifting. But in my parents' eyes, he was still golden. He was still Mark's son. He was still the boy who could do no wrong. When Mia's graduation date was announced, I called my mother. I was actually excited. I thought maybe, just this once, she would be happy for us. For Mia. Mom, Mia's graduation is June 15th, I said, trying to keep the hope out of my voice. We were thinking of having a small party at our house afterward. Nothing fancy, just barbecue and cake. You and Dad can come, maybe Mark and Linda and Ethan. There was a pause on the line. Too long of a pause. June 15th, my mother finally said, her voice flat. That's the same weekend as Ethan's celebration. My stomach dropped. Ethan's celebration? What celebration? He finally decided what he wants to do, she said, as if announcing a royal coronation. He's going to enroll in that automotive tech program at the community college. It's a big step for him. Mark and Linda are throwing a party on that Saturday. We already committed to it. I felt a cold wave wash over me. Mom, it's Mia's graduation. The date has been set for months. The school sent out the notice in January. Well, you should have told us sooner, she snapped. We can't be in two places at once. And you know how hard this is for Ethan. He's been struggling. He needs this encouragement. Mia is smart, she'll be fine. She doesn't need a big party to know she's accomplished something. I held the phone so tight my knuckles turned white. So you're not coming to Mia's graduation? We'll come to the ceremony, I suppose, she said, like it was a massive inconvenience. But the party? Nora, you need to be reasonable. You can't expect us to miss Ethan's day. He is finally turning things around. He deserves the spotlight for once. For once. For once. As if Mia had been stealing the spotlight her entire life. As if Mia's quiet, studious, hard-working existence had somehow cast a shadow on Ethan's golden failure. I see, I said, and my voice was so calm it scared me. So you want me to tell my daughter that her grandmother and grandfather can't come to her graduation party because her cousin is having a party for finally doing something he should have done 2 years ago? Don't be dramatic, Nora, my mother hissed. This is why we always had trouble with you. You always have to make everything a crisis. Just have your little party on another day. Or don't have one at all. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of her high school career, I said. It's a milestone. And Ethan's milestone is just as important. I wanted to scream. I wanted to list every single one of Ethan's failures and compare them to Mia's achievements. I wanted to ask her if she remembered a single parent-teacher conference she attended for me. I wanted to ask her if she knew that Mia had been accepted to 3 colleges, not just one. I wanted to ask her why Ethan's half-hearted attempt at adult life was more worthy of celebration than Mia's actual, tangible success. But I didn't. Because I knew it wouldn't matter. The pattern was set years ago. Mark was the favorite. Ethan was the favorite's favorite. Mia and I were just the periphery, the background noise, the afterthought. I had spent my whole childhood trying to earn a love that was never available to me. I had spent my adulthood telling myself that it didn't matter, that I had my own family now, that I was above it. But hearing my mother dismiss Mia so casually, so cruelly, it broke something that I didn't even know was still whole. Okay, Mom, I said. Thank you for letting me know. I hung up before she could say anything else. Then I walked into the kitchen where Daniel was making coffee. He took one look at my face and put the mug down. What happened? He asked. I told him. Every word. His face went from confusion to disbelief to a quiet, simmering anger that I rarely saw. Daniel is a gentleman. He doesn't yell. He doesn't throw things. But his jaw tightened and his eyes went dark. So they're just not coming, he said. They'll come to the ceremony, I said bitterly. They'll sit in the audience, but they won't come to the party because Ethan is having a celebration for enrolling in a tech program that he'll probably quit in 6 weeks. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. What do you want to do? That was the question, wasn't it? What did I want to do? I could beg. I could plead. I could try to reason with them. I could move the party to a different day, accommodate their precious schedule, shrink Mia's achievement to fit into the cracks of Ethan's mediocre life. I could do what I had always done. I could fold. Or I could finally stand up. We're having the party, I said. On June 15th. At our house. At 2 o'clock. And we're not changing it for anyone. Daniel nodded slowly. And your parents? If they don't come, they don't come. But I'm not going to let them ruin this for Mia. The next few weeks were a delicate dance. I didn't hide anything from Mia, but I also didn't dump all the drama on her. I told her that Grandma and Grandpa had another commitment that afternoon, but they would be at the ceremony. Mia is smart. Too smart. She looked at me with those knowing eyes and said, "It's because of Ethan, isn't it?" I didn't lie. Yes. She shrugged, but I saw the flash of hurt in her expression. It's fine, Mom. I'm used to it. Those words cut me deeper than anything my mother had said. I'm used to it. My daughter was used to being overlooked by her own grandparents. I had failed. I had let my family of origin treat my child the same way they had treated me, and I had let it happen for 18 years. I had told myself that it didn't matter, that Mia had us, that she didn't need them. But she had noticed. She had felt it. And she had learned to accept it as normal. That night, I cried in the shower so she wouldn't hear me. And I made a decision. I was done. Not with Mia, not with Daniel, but with the whole toxic, exhausting, soul-crushing cycle of trying to win approval from people who would never give it. I was done with the holidays where we ate at the kids' table while Mark and Linda sat at the head. I was done with the birthday cards that arrived late with the wrong amount of money. I was done with the comments about how Mia is so serious while Ethan was so spirited. I was done. June 15th arrived. The graduation ceremony was beautiful. Mia walked across that stage with her head high, her silver honor cord around her neck, her smile wide and genuine. I cheered so loud my throat went raw. Daniel whistled. My parents were there, sitting 3 rows behind us. They clapped politely when Mia's name was called. After the ceremony, they came over to congratulate her. Good job, Mia, my mother said, giving her a quick, stiff hug. We have to go now. Ethan's party starts in an hour. You're not staying for the barbecue? Mia asked, and her voice was perfectly neutral, but I heard the tiny crack in it. We can't, sweetheart, my father said, not meeting her eyes. You understand. Mia nodded. Yeah, I understand. They left. Just like that. They turned their backs on their granddaughter on the day of her academic achievement to go celebrate a boy who had done nothing more than fill out an enrollment form. I watched them walk away, and I felt nothing. Not sadness. Not anger. Just a deep, profound emptiness where my love for them used to live. We went home. We had our barbecue. Daniel's parents came. My Aunt Beth came. A few of Mia's friends and their parents. It was small, maybe 20 people total, but it was warm. It was real. We ate too much, we laughed, we watched Mia open cards and gifts. She got a laptop from us, a beautiful one that we had saved for months to buy. Her eyes filled with tears when she opened it. I love you guys, she whispered. We love you more, I said, hugging her tight. That night, after everyone left and Mia went to bed, Daniel and I sat on the porch. The air was warm and the sky was full of stars. Are you okay? He asked. I will be, I said. And I meant it. But the story doesn't end there. That night was just the first step. The real turning point came a year later. And it came from the most unexpected place. A year can change everything. Or nothing. For my parents and for Mark, nothing changed. They continued their lives of quiet delusion, treating Ethan like a prince while he continued to drift. He did enroll in the automotive tech program, as promised. He attended for about 3 months before he stopped going. He claimed the instructor was unfair and had it out for him. My parents paid for the semester anyway. Mark and Linda shrugged and said, well, he tried. Meanwhile, Mia thrived. She finished her first year of college with a 3.9 GPA. She joined a pre-law society. She made friends who challenged her and professors who mentored her. She came home for the summer tanned and happy and more confident than I had ever seen her. And me? I had been busy. Very busy. You see, for years, I had been what you might call a secret entrepreneur. While managing projects for the construction firm, I had started a small side business. I taught myself web design in my spare time, staying up late after Mia went to bed, learning coding languages and user interface principles. I built websites for small local businesses, restaurants, boutiques, contractors. I charged barely anything at first, just enough to cover my coffee. But I was good. Really good. My sites were clean, fast, and easy to use. Word spread. Within 2 years, I had a waiting list. Within 5 years, I was making more from my side business than from my day job. But I didn't tell anyone. Not my parents. Not Mark. Not even most of my friends. Daniel knew, of course. He was my rock, my sounding board, my late-night proofreader. And Mia knew, because she was the one who helped me pick out color schemes. But my family of origin had no idea. I kept it quiet because I knew what would happen. If I told them I was successful, they would either ignore it or find a way to dismiss it. Or worse, they would ask for money. And I wasn't about to fund Ethan's next failed venture. So I worked in the shadows. And I saved. And I invested. By the time Mia finished her first year of college, I had built a portfolio of digital assets that generated a passive income larger than my salary. I had enough money to quit my job. I had enough money to pay for the rest of Mia's college tuition without blinking. I had enough money to buy the house we were renting, the one with a big backyard where Mia had learned to ride a bike. I had enough money to build the life I had always dreamed of, the life my parents had always told me I didn't deserve. But I didn't flaunt it. That's not who I am. I kept driving my 8-year-old sedan. I kept wearing the same jeans. I kept living the same modest life because the money wasn't about showing off. It was about freedom. It was about security. It was about never having to beg for scraps again. Then, one day, everything blew up. And it blew up because of a single photograph. It was a Saturday in early July. Mia was home for the summer, and we were having a quiet morning. Daniel was making pancakes. I was scrolling through my phone, checking emails, when I saw a notification from Facebook. My nephew, Ethan, had tagged me in a post. That was unusual. Ethan and I were not close. He barely acknowledged my existence at family gatherings, too busy basking in the glow of his grandparents' adoration. So my curiosity was piqued, and not in a good way. I opened the notification. Ethan had shared a link. The link went to a real estate listing. A very expensive real estate listing. It was a house of 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom, modern farmhouse on 5 acres of land, with a pool, a guest house, and a 3-car garage. The listing price was $1.2 million. And the caption on Ethan's post? It said, LOL, look what my aunt thinks she can afford. Dream on, Nora. My blood went cold. I clicked on the listing again. And then I saw it. The name of the listing agent. It was a woman I had never heard of. But the address. The address was the same as the house I was in the process of buying. Wait. Not buying. Closing. I had already signed the papers. The house was mine. I had paid cash. I had done it quietly, through a holding company, because I didn't want any family drama. But somehow, the listing had been scraped by a real estate aggregator, and Ethan had found it. And he thought it was a joke. I sat there, staring at my phone while the pancakes burned. Mom? You okay? Mia asked, looking up from her book. I couldn't speak. I handed her the phone. She read the post, and her eyes went wide. Wait, she said slowly. He doesn't know? No, I whispered. No one knows. Oh my God, Mom. Mia started laughing. Not a mean laugh, but a shocked, disbelieving laugh. Oh my God. He thinks you're pretending to buy $1 million house. He's mocking you. I see that. Daniel came over with the spatula. What's going on? Mia showed him. He read the post, and his face went through a journey. Confusion. Recognition. And then a slow, spreading grin. Well, he said. I guess the cat is out of the bag. I felt sick. Not because I was ashamed of my success, but because I knew what was coming. The phone calls. The guilt trips. The demands. The sudden interest in my life from people who had ignored me for decades. I had built this wall of privacy for a reason, and now Ethan had just kicked it down with a single, mocking post. Within an hour, my phone started blowing up. First, it was my mother. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again. And again. Then Mark called. Then Linda. Then my father. I watched the voicemails pile up, and I couldn't bring myself to listen to any of them. Finally, I listened to my mother's first message. Nora, what is this I'm seeing on Facebook? Is this some kind of prank? Why is there a listing for $1 million house with your name on it? Call me back right now. The second message was more agitated. Nora, I called the real estate agent. She says the sale is pending. She says the buyer is in Nora Halstead. That's you. How can you afford a house like that? Where did you get that kind of money? You need to call me back immediately. This is your mother. The third message was downright angry. Nora, I demand you call me back. This is ridiculous. You've been hiding things from this family. That's dishonest. That's disrespectful. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By keeping secrets? Call me. Now. After everything they've done for me. I almost laughed. What had they done for me? They had done the bare minimum. They had fed me, clothed me, and put a roof over my head, which is the legal requirement for not losing custody of a child. They had not loved me. They had not supported me. They had not celebrated me. And they certainly had not helped me build this business. I had done that on my own, in the late hours, while they were at Ethan's baseball games and Mark's promotions parties. I didn't call back. Not that day. Instead, I called my real estate agent and asked her to remove my name from any public listings. She said it was already done, but the damage was out there. Ethan had screenshots. People had seen. The gossip was already spreading through the extended family like wildfire. The next day, I got a call from my Aunt Beth. She was the only member of my mother's family who had ever shown me any genuine kindness. She was my mother's younger sister, and she had always been a bit of an outsider herself. She never married, never had kids, and she lived in a small apartment in the city, painting watercolors and spoiling her cat. She was also, as it turned out, my secret ally. "Nora, honey," she said, her voice gentle. "I heard what happened. Are you okay?" "I don't know, Aunt Beth," I admitted. "I'm not sure what to do." "Well, first of all, congratulations," she said. "I always knew you were a smart one. Your mother never saw it, but I did. You've built something amazing, and you should be proud." "Thank you," I said, and my voice cracked. "I just wish it could have stayed private." "It can't now," she said. "So you need to decide how you're going to handle it." Your mother is furious, by the way. She's been calling me all morning, complaining about how you betrayed the family by not sharing your success. "Betrayed?" I said. "How is my success a betrayal?" Because in her mind, family means everyone knows everything. And you keeping this secret means you didn't trust them. And because you didn't trust them, you must have been hiding something bad. It's twisted logic, I know. But that's how she works. I took a deep breath. "What do you think I should do?" Aunt Beth was quiet for a moment. "I think you should tell them the truth. All of it. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to have your story told. You've spent your whole life being invisible, Nora. Maybe it's time to be seen." "I'm scared," I admitted. "I'm scared of what they'll say. I'm scared they'll ask for money. I'm scared they'll try to tear me down." "Let them try," Aunt Beth said. "You're not that little girl anymore. You're a woman who built an empire from nothing. They can't touch you unless you let them." She was right. I knew she was right. But knowing and doing are two very different things. I spent the next few days in a fog, avoiding calls, avoiding social media, avoiding the whole messy situation. Mia and Daniel gave me space, but I could see the worry in their eyes. Then, on the third day, the calls stopped. And that was somehow worse. The silence was louder than the ringing. I knew what that meant. They were plotting. They were talking about me behind my back. They were building their case, preparing their attack. And I was just sitting here, waiting to be ambushed. I couldn't take it anymore. So I did something drastic. I called my mother. She answered on the first ring. Well, she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "The millionaire finally decides to speak to us." "Mom, I'm not a millionaire. You just bought $1 million house for cash. That makes you a millionaire." "That's not how it works," I said. "And even if it was, why does it matter? Why does it matter?" She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "It matters because you lied to us, Nora. You lied to this family. For years, you pretended to be struggling, and all along you were sitting on a fortune. Do you know how that makes us feel?" I wanted to say, "I don't care how it makes you feel." But I didn't. I took a breath. I never lied. I just didn't tell you. There's a difference. It's the same thing. No, it's not. I didn't tell you because I knew you would react exactly like this. You would make it about you. You would make it about what I owe you. You would find a way to minimize it or take credit for it or demand a piece of it. And I was right, wasn't I? Because here we are. There was a long silence on the line. Then my mother spoke, and her voice was cold. "Your father and I want to see you. In person. Tomorrow. At our house. No excuses." "What for?" "We need to have a conversation. As a family. Your brother and Linda will be there. And Ethan." Of course Ethan would be there. The boy who had started this whole mess with his mocking Facebook post. The boy who had probably already spun this into a story where I was the villain, hoarding wealth while he struggled to find his path. "Fine," I said. "I'll be there. But I'm bringing Daniel and Mia. This is family business. Not in-laws. Daniel is my husband. Mia is my daughter. They are my family. If you want to talk to me, you talk to them too. Take it or leave it." Another silence. Then, "Fine. Tomorrow at 2. Don't be late." She hung up. I sat there, holding the phone, and I felt a strange sense of calm. The waiting was over. The ambush was coming, but now I knew when and where. I could prepare. I could armor myself. I could walk into that house not as the overlooked daughter, but as the woman I had become. The next day, I dressed carefully. Not flashy. I didn't want to give them ammunition. But not frumpy either. I wore a simple navy blue dress, modest jewelry, and sensible flats. Daniel wore a button-down shirt and khakis. Mia wore jeans and a college sweatshirt, her hair in a ponytail. She looked young and bright and unbothered, but I knew her well enough to see the tension in her shoulders. We drove to my parents' house in separate cars. That was intentional. I wanted an escape route if I needed one. The house was a modest ranch style on a quiet street, the same house I had grown up in. The lawn was perfectly manicured, as always. The flower beds were full of roses, my mother's pride. I pulled into the driveway and saw Mark's truck already there. My father's sedan. Linda's SUV. Everyone was here. Waiting. I knocked on the door, even though I had a key. I wanted to make it clear that I was a guest now, not a member of this household. My mother opened the door. She looked older than I remembered. Her hair was grayer, her face more lined. But her eyes were the same. Sharp. Judging. Disappointed. Come in, she said, stepping aside. The living room had been arranged like a courtroom. My parents sat on the sofa. Mark and Linda sat in the armchairs. Ethan was sprawled on the floor, scrolling through his phone, not even looking up when we entered. There was a chair in the center of the room, clearly placed there for me. Daniel and Mia would have to stand. I didn't sit in the chair. Instead, I pulled 2 dining room chairs from the adjacent room and placed them next to me. Daniel sat on one, Mia on the other. I remained standing. Well, my mother said, her lips tight. So nice of you to finally grace us with your presence. You asked me to come, I said. I'm here. Let's talk. My father cleared his throat. He was a quiet man, always had been. He let my mother do the talking, the fighting, the manipulating. He just sat there, looking uncomfortable, like a hostage in his own living room. Nora, he began, we just want to understand. We're your parents. We love you. And we're hurt that you felt you couldn't share your success with us. Love. He said the word like it was a fact, not a feeling. Like saying it made it true. I didn't share my success because I didn't think you'd care, I said quietly. And honestly, I still don't think you care. I think you care about the money. I think you care about how it looks. But I don't think you care about me. Mark snorted. Here we go. The victim act. I turned to look at my brother. He was 42, but he looked older. Too many late nights, too much takeout, too much stress from a job he hated. He had followed the path my parents had laid out for him, gone to college, gotten a business degree, taken a management job at a manufacturing plant. He was miserable, and he made sure everyone knew it. Victim act. I said. Mark, you have no idea what you're talking about. Don't I? He leaned forward. You've been playing the poor, neglected daughter for 30 years. Always whining about how mom and dad loved me more. Always making everything a competition. And now we find out you've been hiding millions of dollars? It's insane. It's pathological. I'm not hiding anything, I said, my voice rising. I'm not playing anything. I'm telling you the truth. Mom and dad did love you more. They still do. They always have. That's not an accusation. That's just a fact. And it hurt. It still hurts. But I dealt with it. I built my own life. I didn't ask for anything from them. And I didn't ask for anything from you. But you could have helped, Linda interjected, her voice sharp. Linda had always been a bit of a social climber, married to Mark mostly for the stability and the family money, such as it was. You could have helped us when Mark lost his job 2 years ago. You could have helped Ethan with his tuition. You could have helped mom and dad when the roof needed replacing. But you just sat on your pile of money like a dragon, watching us struggle. I didn't know Mark lost his job, I said honestly. No one told me. Because you never call, my mother burst out. You never come to dinner. You never answer our texts. You've been pulling away from this family for years, and now we know why. Because you thought you were better than us. I didn't think I was better, I said, and now my voice was shaking. I just got tired of being treated like I was worse. Ethan looked up from his phone for the first time. Can we just get to the point? He said, bored. How much money do you have? The room went quiet. Ethan had said the thing everyone was thinking. The real question. Not why did you hide it, not how did you do it, but how much. I looked at my nephew. He was 20 years old, over 6 feet tall, broad-shouldered, handsome in a generic way. He had never wanted for anything. He had never been told he couldn't do something. He had never been made to feel small. And yet, here he was, asking me, the aunt he had mocked just days ago, to quantify my worth so he could figure out how to spend it. That's none of your business, I said. It is if it's family money, Mark said. Mom and dad helped us when we needed it. They'd help you if you needed it. So it's only fair that you help them now. And us. I don't need their help, I said. And they don't need mine. Mom and dad have a paid-off house and Social Security. They're fine. The roof, my mother said. We told you about the roof. No, you didn't. This is the first I'm hearing about it. Well, it needs replacing. It's going to cost $15,000. $15,000. For a couple who had spent thousands on Ethan's failed college attempts, on Mark's vacations, on Linda's designer handbags. But now they wanted me to pay for the roof. I'll pay for the roof, I said. Not because you asked, but because it's the right thing to do. But that's it. I'm not funding anyone's lifestyle. I'm not paying for Ethan's next failed venture. I'm not bailing out Mark's bad investments. I'll fix the roof, and then we're done. Linda's eyes narrowed. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, I said. I learned that a long time ago. My father spoke up again. Nora, we don't want to fight. We just want to understand. Where did this money come from? How long have you been hiding it? I took a deep breath. This was it. The moment of truth. I could lie. I could deflect. I could make up some story about an inheritance or a lottery ticket. But Aunt Beth was right. I deserved to have my story told. So I told it. About 10 years ago, I started building websites on the side. I began. I taught myself at night after Mia went to bed. I charged next to nothing at first. But I was good at it. Really good. Word spread. Within 2 years, I had a waiting list. Within 5, I was making more from my side business than from my day job. So I quit my job and focused on the business full time. I built a team. We expanded into digital marketing, SEO, app design. We have clients all over the country. Last year, we grossed over $2 million. I paused, letting that sink in. $2 million. The number hung in the air like a physical weight. I didn't hide it to be deceitful, I continued. I hid it because I knew how you would react. I knew you would see me differently. I knew you would start asking for things. I knew you would minimize my hard work and credit it to luck or to you. And I was right. Look at this room. You're not happy for me. You're not proud of me. You're calculating. You're figuring out what you can get. My mother's face was pale. We're your parents. We have a right to know these things. No, you don't. I'm an adult. My finances are none of your business. But we're family. Mark shouted, standing up. Family takes care of each other. You've been sitting on a fortune while we've been drowning. Drowning? I laughed, and it was not a kind laugh. Mark, you make $90,000 a year. Linda works part-time. You have no debt except your mortgage. You go on vacation to Florida every winter. You are not drowning. You just want more. You've always wanted more, and you've always expected other people to give it to you. That's not true, Linda said, but her voice was shaky. Isn't it? I looked at Ethan. Your son has quit or failed at everything he's ever tried. And instead of holding him accountable, you've bailed him out. You've made excuses. You've blamed teachers, bosses, friends, anyone but him. And now you want me to fund his next failure? No, absolutely not. Ethan finally looked up, and his expression was ugly. You're a piece of work, you know that? You come in here with your fancy house and your judgment, and you act like you're so much better than us. But you're not. You're just lucky. Luck had nothing to do with it, I said. I worked. I sacrificed. I stayed up until 2 in the morning, night after night, while you were out partying or playing video games. I built this. Me. Not luck. Not my parents. Not you. Me. Mia had been quiet the whole time, but now she spoke. Her voice was soft, but it cut through the room like a knife. You know what's really sad, she said. My mom never asked for anything from you. She never wanted your money or your praise or your attention. All she wanted was for you to show up. Just once. To her graduation. To her birthday. To any of my school plays or soccer games. But you never did. You were always too busy with Ethan. My mother opened her mouth to respond, but Mia kept going. I remember every single time you chose him over me, she said. Every Christmas where his presents were bigger. Every Thanksgiving where I sat alone because the adults were all talking about him. Every time Grandma told me I was too sensitive when I cried because Ethan broke my toy or said something mean. I remember all of it. And you know what? I'm done too. I'm done pretending that this is a family. It's not. It's a cult, and Ethan is the golden idol, and the rest of us are just sacrifices. The room was dead silent. Daniel put his hand on Mia's shoulder, but she didn't need comforting. She was on fire, and she was beautiful. My mom is the strongest person I know, Mia continued. She built an empire while you all ignored her. She paid for my college without blinking. She never made me feel like I was second best. She broke the cycle. And you can't stand it. You can't stand that she's successful without you. You can't stand that she doesn't need you. So you're trying to tear her down. But it's not going to work. Because we are a family. The 3 of us. And we don't need you. My mother started crying. Not sad crying, but angry crying, the kind of tears that come from losing control. How dare you, she sobbed. How dare you speak to me that way? I'm your grandmother. I love you. No, you don't, Mia said. You love the idea of me. You love being able to say you have a granddaughter in college. But you don't love me. You don't even know me. And that's fine. I've made my peace with it. I looked at my daughter, and I felt a pride so intense it almost hurt. She had said everything I had been too scared or too conditioned to say. She had fought for me, the way I had always fought for her. And in that moment, I knew that whatever happened next, I had already won. Mark sat back down, his face ashen. Linda was staring at the floor. Ethan was back on his phone, pretending not to care, but I saw his hands shake. My father had tears in his eyes, real tears, and for a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. He was a man who had never learned to stand up to his wife, who had watched his daughter and granddaughter drift away and done nothing to stop it. Nora, my father said, his voice cracking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what, Dad? I asked. Be specific. He blinked, clearly not expecting that. For everything. For not being there. For letting your mother, for not protecting me? I finished. For not treating me like I mattered? He nodded, tears streaming down his face. Thank you, I said. I appreciate that. But sorry isn't enough. Not anymore. I've spent 40 years waiting for apologies that never came. I'm not going to spend 40 more waiting for change that will never happen. I turned to my mother. Her crying had stopped, replaced by a stony, defensive silence. She was regrouping, building her walls. Mom, I'll send a check for the roof, I said. But that's it. I won't be coming to holidays. I won't be answering your guilt trip calls. I won't be pretending that everything is fine. I'm done. This relationship, such as it is over. You can't do that, she whispered. We're your parents. That's a biological fact, I said. It doesn't obligate me to let you hurt me. I motioned to Daniel and Mia, and we walked toward the door. As I reached for the handle, Ethan's voice stopped me. So that's it, he said, finally looking up from his phone. You're just going to walk away? What about me? What about my future? I turned to look at him. What about your future? I need a car, he said, as if that was obvious. Mine is falling apart. And I was thinking about starting a business. A detailing shop. But I need startup money. You could help. You have more than enough. I stared at him. This boy, this man, this entitled, delusional prince, standing in his grandparents' living room, asking his aunt for a car and a business after mocking her on social media. The audacity was breathtaking. Ethan, I said slowly, let me make something very clear. I will not give you a single penny. Not for a car. Not for a business. Not for anything. You are 20 years old. You are capable of working. You are capable of earning. But you won't, because everyone has always handed you everything. That stops now. With me at least. His face twisted. You're selfish. You're just like everyone says. Who is everyone? I asked. Your parents? Your grandparents? The people who have enabled you your whole life? Their opinions don't matter to me. They never did. I opened the door. The summer air rushed in, warm and fresh. I stepped outside, followed by Daniel and Mia. We walked down the driveway, got into our separate cars, and drove away. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. That house, those people, that life, it was behind me now. The drive home was quiet. Mia was in the passenger seat, staring out the window. Daniel was following in his car. When we got to the house that was now ours, the big modern farmhouse with the pool and the guest house and the 5 acres, I pulled into the driveway and just sat there for a moment. Mom? Mia said. Are you okay? I think I am, I said. I think I'm more than okay. I think I'm free. We went inside. Daniel made tea. Mia put on a movie. And I sat on my new couch, in my new living room, surrounded by the 2 people I loved most in the world, and I let myself feel it. The sadness. The anger. The relief. The joy. All of it. Over the next few weeks, the fallout was intense. My mother called repeatedly, leaving voicemails that ranged from tearful apologies to screaming accusations. Mark sent me a long email, detailing all the ways I had failed the family. Linda posted passive-aggressive memes on Facebook. Ethan made a few more mocking posts, but when no one engaged with him, he stopped. Aunt Beth called me the next day. I heard what happened, she said. I'm proud of you, Nora. I'm proud of me too, I said. And I meant it. Your mother is beside herself, and Beth continued. She's telling everyone that you've cut her off because you're greedy and selfish. But no one believes her. Not really. Everyone knows how she's treated you. They just never said anything. Why didn't they? Because it's easier to look away. But you force them to look. And some of them are uncomfortable with what they see. That's not your problem. I invited Aunt Beth to come visit the new house. She came the following weekend, bringing a watercolor painting she had made of the sunrise. It now hangs in my office, a reminder of the dawn after a long, dark night. Mia went back to college in the fall. She's now a junior, and she's already been accepted into a summer internship at a prestigious law firm. She calls me every Sunday, and we talk for hours. She's dating a sweet boy named Alex who sends me flowers on Mother's Day. She's happy. She's thriving. She's everything I ever hoped she would be. Daniel and I are good. Better than good. We travel now, something we never had time for before. We went to Italy last spring. We're planning a trip to Japan next year. We still drive modest cars and wear comfortable clothes, but we also have a house that feels like a sanctuary, a pool that Mia uses when she's home, and a guest house that I'm converting into a writing studio. I've started writing a book about building a business from nothing, about breaking free from toxic family dynamics. It's slow going, but it's cathartic. As for my parents and Mark and Ethan, I don't know much. I've blocked their numbers. I've unfriended them on social media. I've asked Aunt Beth not to give me updates unless it's an emergency. The last I heard, my mother was in therapy, which surprised me. Maybe she finally realized that something was wrong. My father sends me a card on my birthday every year, a simple store-bought card with a note that says, "Thinking of you." I don't respond, but I keep them in a shoebox under my bed. I'm not sure why. Mark and Linda got divorced about a year after that family meeting. I heard through the grapevine that Linda left him for a coworker. Mark moved into a small apartment and started drinking more. Ethan dropped out of the automotive program for good and moved in with his mother. He works as a stock boy at a grocery store now, or so I've been told. I don't wish him ill. I just don't think about him at all. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I made the right choice. Cutting off your entire family isn't something you do lightly. There are moments of doubt, moments of guilt, moments where I hear a particular song or smell a particular smell, and I miss them. Not the people they were, but the people I wish they could be. The mother who would hold me when I cried. The father who would defend me. The brother who would be my ally. Those people never existed. But I still mourn them sometimes. Therapy helped. I started seeing a therapist about 6 months after the blow-up. Her name is Dr. Reyes, and she's helped me unpack decades of neglect and emotional abuse. She helped me understand that my parents' treatment of me was never about me. It was about them. Their own wounds. Their own inadequacies. Their own inability to love unconditionally. That doesn't excuse it, but it explains it. And understanding it has made it easier to let go. Mia is the one who insisted I go to therapy. She had been seeing a counselor at her college, and she said it changed her life. She said, "Mom, you broke the cycle for me. Now break it for yourself." So I did. And I'm better for it. One thing that still stings, though, is the graduation. Mia's high school graduation. That memory is like a splinter under my skin, small but sharp. I can't forget the way my parents walked away. I can't forget the way they chose Ethan over her over and over again. But Mia has forgiven them in her own way. Not because they deserve it, but because she refuses to carry that weight. She said, "Mom, holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I'm not going to let them poison me. She's wiser than I am, that girl. She always has been." Now, 2 years later, I'm sitting on the porch of my farmhouse, watching the sun set over my 5 acres. Daniel is inside making dinner. Mia is coming home for the weekend tomorrow. The pool is sparkling. The guest house studio is almost finished. And I am at peace. But life has a way of surprising you. Just when you think you've closed a door, someone finds a window. It was a Tuesday. I was in my office, working on a new project for a client, when my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "Nora, it's Ethan. Please don't block me. I need to talk to you." I stared at the message for a long time. My first instinct was to delete it, to block the number, to pretend I never saw it. But something made me pause. Curiosity, maybe. Or maybe a tiny, stubborn ember of hope that people can change. I didn't respond immediately. I let the message sit there unanswered for 3 days. He sent another one. "Please. It's important. I'm sorry for everything." On the 4th day, I responded. "This is a surprise. What do you want?" His reply came within seconds. "I want to apologize. In person. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm asking anyway." I thought about it. I talked to Daniel. I talked to Mia. Mia was skeptical. "Be careful, Mom. He might just want money. Daniel was more open. People can change, Nora. You changed. Maybe he is too. I decided to meet him, but on my terms. Neutral ground. A coffee shop in the town between our houses. No Daniel, no Mia. Just me and him. I wanted to see his face when he spoke. We met on a Saturday morning. The coffee shop was busy, full of families and students and old men reading newspapers. I got there early and sat in a corner booth, facing the door. When Ethan walked in, I barely recognized him. He had lost weight. A lot of weight. His face was thinner, his jaw sharper. He was dressed in clean but modest clothes, a plain gray t-shirt and jeans. His hair was cut short, and he had a small scar above his left eyebrow that hadn't been there before. He looked tired. He looked older. He looked like someone who had seen things. He spotted me and walked over. He didn't sit down immediately. He just stood there, looking at me, and I saw something in his eyes that I had never seen before. Humility. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Sit down," I said. He sat. He folded his hands on the table, then unfolded them. He was nervous. "Good. I'm not going to stay long," I said. "So whatever you have to say, say it." He took a deep breath. "I'm sorry. I know you've heard that before, probably from a lot of people who didn't mean it. But I mean it. I'm sorry for what I said on Facebook. I'm sorry for how I acted at Grandma's house. I'm sorry for being a spoiled, entitled brat for my entire life. I didn't say anything. I just waited. A lot has changed," he continued. "After that meeting, things fell apart. My parents got divorced. My dad started drinking. My mom moved us into a small apartment, and she's working 2 jobs now. I lost my job at the grocery store because I didn't show up. I hit rock bottom. Like, really rock bottom. I was sleeping on a friend's couch, eating ramen, feeling sorry for myself." He paused, rubbing his hands together. "And then one day, I was walking past a construction site, and I saw these guys working. They were building a house, from nothing, just dirt and wood and nails. And I thought, I want to do that. I want to build something. I want to stop being the guy who breaks things and start being the guy who fixes them. So what did you do?" I asked. "I went to a trade school. Not community college, an actual trade school. I'm learning to be an electrician. Like Daniel." I raised my eyebrows. That was unexpected. "I'm in my 2nd semester," he said. "I have a 3.5 GPA. I've never worked this hard in my life. But I love it. I love the work. I love knowing that when I'm done, I'll have a skill. A real skill. Something no one can take away from me." "That's good, Ethan," I said. "I'm glad to hear it. I'm not telling you this because I want money," he said quickly. "I don't want anything from you. I just wanted you to know that you were right. About everything. You were right that I was entitled. You were right that I needed to be held accountable. You were right that I could work and earn. And I'm doing that. I'm working part-time at a hardware store, and I'm paying my own tuition. It's hard. It's really hard. But it's mine." I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe the beginning of it. "Why did you want to tell me this?" I asked. "Why no? Because I've been going to therapy," he said. "And my therapist told me that one of the steps to healing is making amends. Not for the other person, but for yourself. And I knew that I had hurt you. Not just with that Facebook post, but with my whole life. The way I took everything for granted while you worked for everything. The way I mocked you when you had every right to be proud. I was wrong. And I wanted to say that to your face." I looked at him for a long time. This was not the Ethan I remembered. The Ethan I remembered was lazy, manipulative, and cruel. This Ethan was earnest, nervous, and trying. People can change. I had changed. Maybe he could too. "I appreciate that," I said finally. "I don't know if I can forgive you yet, but I appreciate the apology." He nodded. "That's all I ask. I'm not asking for a relationship. I'm not asking for a second chance. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." We sat in silence for a moment. The coffee shop buzzed around us, oblivious to the small, fragile moment happening in the corner booth. "How are your grandparents?" I asked. I hadn't meant to. The question just slipped out. Ethan sighed. "Grandma is better. She's still in therapy. She's actually started seeing a therapist who specializes in family dynamics. Grandpa is the same. Quiet. He misses you." "I miss him too," I admitted. "Sometimes. He asks about you," Ethan said. "Every time I see him." "Have you heard from Nora? How is Mia?" "I think he regrets a lot." "Regret doesn't change the past." "No," Ethan agreed. "But it can change the future." He stood up. "I should go. I have a study group in an hour. But thank you, Nora." for listening, for giving me a chance to say this. Ethan, I said, as he turned to leave. He looked back. Keep going. Don't quit. You're on the right path. He smiled. A real smile, not the smug smirk I remembered. I will. I promise. He walked out of the coffee shop, and I watched him go. I sat there for another 20 minutes, drinking my cold coffee, thinking about everything. About family. About change. About the long, winding road of healing. After that meeting, I started to reconsider my total cutoff policy. Not for my mother. Not for Mark. But for my father. And maybe, eventually, for Ethan. I didn't rush into anything. I took my time. I talked to my therapist. I talked to Daniel and Mia. Mia was surprisingly open to the idea. People can grow, Mom. You taught me that. Daniel was more cautious. Just be careful. Don't let them pull you back into the old patterns. I decided to start small. I sent my father a text. Just a simple one. Hi, Dad. Thinking of you. Hope you're doing well. He responded within seconds. Nora. I can't believe it's you. I'm doing okay. I miss you so much. We started texting occasionally. Nothing deep. Just updates about the weather, about Mia's school, about his garden. It was tentative, fragile, like walking on thin ice. But it was something. A few months later, I invited him to visit. Just him. Not my mother. He came on a Saturday afternoon, driving his old sedan, carrying a pie that my mother had made. I almost didn't accept the pie, but Daniel took it and put it on the counter. My father walked through the house, his eyes wide. He saw the pool, the guest house, the 5 acres. He saw the life I had built. And he saw it without jealousy, without resentment. He saw it with something that looked like pride. This is beautiful, Nora, he said. You did this. All of this. I had help, I said, nodding toward Daniel. But you built it, my father insisted. You. I'm so proud of you. I wanted to say, where was this pride when I was a kid? Where was this pride when I was struggling? But I didn't. Because I knew that holding onto that anger was like holding onto a hot coal. It only burned me. We sat on the porch and we talked. Really talked, for the first time in my life. He told me about his own childhood, about how his father had been distant and critical, about how he had never learned how to show love. He told me that he had always been afraid of my mother, afraid of her anger, afraid of her disapproval, and that he had sacrificed his relationship with me to keep the peace. I was a coward, he said, tears in his eyes. I was a coward, and I let you down. I let Mia down. I will never forgive myself for that. I don't need you to forgive yourself, I said. I need you to do better. Going forward. I will, he promised. I'll try. It wasn't a perfect reconciliation. It wasn't a movie ending where everything was suddenly okay. But it was a start. A shaky, uncertain start. And for now, that was enough. As for my mother, I'm not there yet. She's still angry. She's still defensive. She still calls me sometimes, leaving voicemails that range from weepy to accusatory. I don't respond. I'm not ready. Maybe I never will be. And that's okay. Forgiveness is not a requirement. It's a choice. And right now, I choose my own peace over her chaos. Life is strange. You spend years building walls to protect yourself, and then one day, you realize that the walls are also a prison. You have to learn to let some people in, just a little, just enough to see if they've changed. And sometimes they have. Sometimes they haven't. But you don't know unless you try. I still think about that graduation. About the moment my parents walked away. About the hurt in Mia's eyes that she tried so hard to hide. I think about it, and I feel a pang of something. Not anger anymore. Just sadness. Sadness for the family we could have been, if everyone had been willing to do the work. But I also think about the life I built. About the business I grew from nothing. About the daughter who broke the cycle and became more than I ever dreamed. About the husband who stood by me through every storm. About the house on the hill, with a pool and the guest house and the 5 acres. About the peace I have found, after years of searching. And I think about Ethan. The boy who mocked me, who demanded my money, who was the symbol of everything wrong with my family. He's not a boy anymore. He's a man, learning a trade, going to therapy, trying to be better. He sent me a photo last week of his first completed electrical panel. It was neat, precise, professional. He had written my name on a piece of tape and stuck it to the corner. For you, Aunt Nora, the text said. Because you believed in me when no one else did. I didn't believe in him. Not really. But maybe I believed in the possibility of change. And maybe that's enough. Mia graduates from college in 2 years. She wants to go to law school. She wants to be a civil rights attorney, fighting for people who don't have a voice. I have no doubt she will succeed. She has that fire, the same fire I had, but without the bitterness. She is the best of me, and she is entirely her own person. When she graduates, I will throw a party. A big one. With barbecue and cake and music and dancing. And I will invite everyone who has loved and supported her. Daniel's parents. Aunt Beth. A few close friends. And maybe, just maybe, my father. And perhaps, if the stars align, Ethan. But not my mother. Not Mark. Not Linda. Some doors, once closed, stay closed. And that's not bitterness. That's self-respect. The sun is setting now, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Daniel is calling me for dinner. Mia is on her way home, her car rounding the bend of our long driveway. I can hear music playing from her open window, something upbeat and young. She's laughing, probably on the phone with Alex. I stand up from the porch swing, stretch my arms above my head, and smile. This is my life. My beautiful, hard-won, imperfect life. I built it with my own 2 hands. And no one can take that away from me. If you made it to the end of this story, thank you for listening. I shared it because I know there are so many of you out there who have felt overlooked, undervalued, and unloved by the people who were supposed to protect you. I want you to know that you can build your own life. You can find your own family. You can break the cycle. It's not easy. It's not quick. But it is possible. And if someone in your life has hurt you, you don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them a relationship. You don't owe them your time, your money, or your peace. You owe yourself the life you deserve. Go build it. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. There are more stories coming, more dramas, more triumphs, more tears. And I hope you'll be here for every single one of them. Until next time, take care of yourself. Take care of your people. And never, ever let anyone tell you that you don't deserve the spotlight.